Okay. Hello, Professor. Good evening. So, me and my team, along with Praveen and Sahiti, we have done the project on Nmap tool, and so this is a IEEE project, and Nmap stands for Network Mapper. So, coming to introduction, in this advanced world, online technologies, and we are using internet every day. Network security plays a prominent role, and we have to look into it, and network security is very important for home networks and business worlds. Most of the business servers and networks work on the routers, and which can be exploited easily every day. We are seeing real case scenarios every day that network is exploited, and the network went down, and slowness we are seeing every day. So there are various network security tools like Nmap, such as OpenBAS, Geek, and NetSparker. These tools will help us monitor the network and detect any malicious activities over the network. Yeah. So coming to Nmap, so this is a open source and a free tool which is used to in discovering the networks and security auditing process. So this is a tool for network security that helps to identify the services on the network of a computers, and it is a completely a command based tool, and it has a GUI to run the commands. So it runs on various operating systems like Linux and Windows and Mac OS, and it will, yeah, and it has a, can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So coming to the overview of Nmap, there are three layers in it, and application interface, modules, and core services. Application interface has network utilities, network scanning, and vulnerability assessment tools. And application module has Nmap module, AutoScan module, and OpenVAS module. All these three are integrated. And coming to the core services, it has Nmap engine and as well as OpenVAS tools and services. So the design diagram that we created has a network mapper tool on the left and a network on the right. So the network tool is used to perform the scanning and monitoring the network on the right side. So once the network is scanned and the results are recorded, we will save them into text, XML, and graph formats. So these results can be analyzed and used to provide the network security and improve the network. So from here, my friend will take care of the next slides. Praveen, can you take over?
Yeah, I can take over. Hello, Professor. This is Praveen. So I'm gonna explain about our motivation and technical content regarding our project. So our motivation, the primary is to identify internal and external threats by using a network vulnerability scanners to examine a vulnerabilities. So so by using a creating or utilizing a web-based tool for detecting a vulnerabilities in computer and networks. So this aids in understanding the significance of network security, particularly that of contemporary vulnerability scanners. So our primary goal is to improve the risk assessment process by merging a techniques such as Nmap and minimizing a administrative complexity. Uh, so it can reduce some administrative works. So can you move on to next slide? So technical content in our project. So the platform. So Nmap is a platform. Basically, initially it was an Unix-based tool. So however, but in a 2000, so we have got a Windows version of Nmap. So it has become a second most useful one in nowadays. So the Unix is, I mean, we are using a Windows version when compared to the Linux version. So the languages which is used in in our project is, so Nmap contains a scripting language. So it uses a Lua programming language to create automatic and default scripts for vulnerability scanning. So it is an extensible language, so that is strong and efficient and lightweight. So it uses a NSE library that integrates with Lua with Nmap. It's a second half of Nmap scripting engine. So tools to be used. So Nmap and Nmap and Zenmap, it is a multi-graphical graphical user interface. So it can be easily understood by any beginners. So if a beginner want to scan anything, they can easily navigate to the Nmap tool. So Nmap allows you to scan or see a network topology and save topology, host information, as well as scan details and host on the network. So as well as we can save a scans in source database. Can you can you take over the next slides? Right.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Professor. Yeah, till now, Praveen and Avinash explained like what is Nmap tool is all about and what is its architecture, which tool is being used. So now I'm going to explain like how it is actually implemented and what all Nmap tool does to perform the network scanning. So generally, if you see the efficiency of any system, it is determined by its security and determined by its network security. Like if a network is so secure enough and it is not having any malicious actions, we say the server is secure and it is safe without any malicious or hacking attacks. So for this, using the Nmap tool, we can do a continuous scanning over a network to see if there are any malicious activities that are happening over a network. And it is highly important that vulnerability test or this scanning is conducted in a regular manner to have a clear picture of what is happening over our network. So for this Nmap, it will help us to do several scans over a network like TCP scan, UDP scan, sync scan, acknowledgement scan, RCP scan, and idle scan. So if you take, suppose if you take an example of the sync scan, it is nothing but a sync packet is sent to the remote network, whichever we are going to scan. And then when we receive a response back, so Nmap will be able to identify whether the port is open or whether the port is closed. Accordingly, we can take action on the open ports to make sure none of the ports are attacked by the hackers. Likewise, the UDP scan, it is used to identify the UDP ports which are taking the requests that are being given to the target machines. And UDP scan generally it helps us to reveal if there are any Trojan horses that are attacking on our network. And generally, this UDP scan is very slow, but it is important that we do this UDP scans, in a regular intervals for having a precautionary measure to our machines. And when this Nmap scan is initiated, it undergoes generally the several steps. And it is important that the previous step should be completed before we move on to the next step. And all these steps are internally run when we execute a particular script on the Nmap. So some of the stages that will undergo while scanning the scripts are like pre-scanning, host detection, reverse DNS resolution, port scanning, version detection, OS detection, trace routing, and script post planning. So what happens is when we run a particular script, first the remote hosts are identified and it tries to check the version or the OS of that particular remote host. And then it will try to reverse DNS resolution, which means once the host is identified, the reverse DNS names for those hosts are looked up. And then the host names are useful for identifying the names of the particular server. So likewise, we use this Nmap tool for doing various scans and try to check the network activity continuously. And coming to this testing, as I said, it is very important we do a series of testing in a regular time intervals. So coming to the Nmap implementation, this is how the testing is done. First, we do a vulnerability assessment using the Nmap scripts. And once the scanning is performed, we get the results. And as Avinash said, it can be saved into our system in various formats. And once those results are arrived, we can compare those results and then analyze the consequences. And based on that, we can have a risk mitigation plan in place to avoid these kind of attacks happening in future. So we perform certain experiments to see how we can scan a network and how we can detect any malware infections that are available that can have in a network. So we performed the stealth scan and we performed the malware infections to detect any malware infections on the site. We'll be showing a short demo of how we can perform all these activities over an Nmap tool. And we also have like Nmap tool also provides a feasibility to see the network topology. So when we are scanning a network, we can see how that network topology look like, and it has various options. Like we can even look for the topology in a fisheye manner. So these are the various experiments we performed. So let me show you a small demo. Like we can perform a regular scan, a quick scan, and also a intent scan using the Nmap. So if this is like the Nmap GUI interface where we can perform the scanning. So this is like a regular scan we do. So I'm performing a scan on SEMO network. So this is a command that we use in the Nmap to do a regular scanning. So here we see the scanning is done in 6 seconds, and these are like the open ports that are available. And we can even perform a quick scan using this command, which takes a lesser time than the regular scan. So we can see it is done in only 3 seconds, and it gives us the results. And likewise, we can perform the intent scan, as intent scan will take some more time. So we have run it before, and we are showing it here. So we can see here intent scan gives us elaborated results, like what it performs the script scanning. As I said in my previous slides, what are all the steps it goes through. So it do a script scanning, and it shows up it sees what all the hosts available in the network, and it even do a post scanning. So all these steps it internally does, and even sees what is the OS version of it. And this is kind of intent scan that is done using the Nmap. And if you can see, we have various options here. So this is like the topology. We can see what is a network topology, like how various networks, how we are interacting with this, and how the network topology of this particular site look like. So it has various options like the host viewer, where we can see what is the host address and all. And it also have the fisheye options, where it shows in a fisheye representation. And we also have a controls option here. We also have the host details option, where we can clearly see what are all the host details, and what are its addresses available, and what is the OS it is operating on, and what is the TCP sequence it is having. And all these things can be done, can be easily looked using the GUI interface of this Nmap. And as we said, like we even have feasibility to save this Nmap in our Nmap results in our local system. So I'm just going to run a command which helps us to save this scan results in in our local system. So this is a command which we use. So once I have run this command, so this is done. So if we go over and see, sorry, I think it's C users. Yeah, if you see here, I have run the test, and all these files are like generated, and all the scan results will be there in this. So if you want, I mean, like if you can see this is all the like the network results that are stored. So using this, like using this command, it generally stores in the 3 formats XML. So if you want a basic storage, like if you want to save this network results in a text file, we can even do this using this command. So once these results are saved in our PC, we can further analyze these results and see what can be done to mitigate it. So if you can see, this is the test file that is generated, and it has all the scan results available. So so this is like using this results that are saved in our local, which we can even analyze this and see what is a mitigation plan that we can have in place to avoid these kind of vulnerabilities happening in future. And also, like once we perform any actions, any scans, if we see any open ports, like we can assume, like if these ports are open, we can see what are the things we can make to make sure these ports are not attacked by the hackers. So these are like the vulnerable ports that are there in our site, and we can make sure to have some mitigation plan in place to have these ports protected. So these are the experiments we have conducted to make to see how this Nmap can be effectively used to scan the network. So to summarize, we can say, like for any organization or for any company to have their to ensure the sustainability or the security to the systems, it is important to have their network protected. And every day we are seeing vulnerabilities are found commonly in many networks, and we are even listening that many networks are being hacked by the attackers. So having a network scanner is very important in any application, and that can be used to scan the network, and it can report any vulnerabilities identified. So frequent scanning and assessment must be carried out to ensure that the infrastructure and the network that we design to our server is safe and secure. So these are some of the references that we took to gather the information, or to see how this Nmap tool can be used to do a port scanning, and how we can optimize our network, how we can secure our network. So these are some of the references that we took. And yeah, thank you so much.